mics are live.
What's going on? What's going on?
Yes. Welcome aboard, everybody. My name is Doobyis. This is Flying Formation. I talk to a different artist every week. It's always people who I play on my mix show. I do a weekly mix show called After the Smoke is Clear, or at Sick Radio. It's an hour worth of independent Canadian hip-hop every week. If you haven't, you should definitely tap in over there. I've been playing I.L.Liam's music for the last, I don't know, 2-3 years, I think. Like, I feel like Gorilla Glue might have been when I first kind of heard your music and decided to tap in. But yeah, welcome, man. It's good to meet you.
Dude, I'm happy to be here, man. I've been meaning to get on one of these interviews for a minute, man, ever since you reached out way back when. But I guess the stars just didn't align, but they did today. So here we are.
Yeah, man. Happy to have you. So you put out an album like in August, right? I think it was August, right? Today?
Yes.
Yeah, so I was checking out your Spotify earlier today, and it kind of talked about how, like, you were a long time super fan of hip hop before you really started making your own music or whatever. I wanted to just kind of start there and ask, like, what was your entry point into hip hop, man? Like, how'd you get on this path?
Man, I was like in elementary school, and I heard like Eminem and like Akon and all that on the radio.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I grew up around a bunch of different kinds of music. My parents like oldies. My grandpa was really big into, old country and stuff like that. But then like didn't quite jive with it too much. But then I heard hip hop for the first time, and I was like, man, like I was like maybe, I don't know, like 8, maybe 10 years old, and I heard that shit, and I jived, man. I fell in love. I loved it.
Nice, man. Yeah, I feel like for people in Alberta, like, it also says you're Alberta born, raised, and maybe not in Edmonton, I think it said, but based in Edmonton now, right? So
yeah.
But for dudes in Alberta, like I myself was born and bred out here in Alberta, and like there's only a few entry points into hip hop for, I think, especially the white guys out here in Alberta, right? Like, it's like Eminem really made that mark. I think a lot of people got involved there. I think a lot of people got involved through the battle rap community or whatever. And like the whole KOTD movement. And then there's a few other little offshoots here and there, like, I don't know, guys that were juggalos 20 years ago or whatever, right? They're running around out there. But it's a weird scene out here in Alberta, man.
It's bizarre, but it's pretty lovely, though. I ain't gonna lie, it's pretty awesome.
For real, man. We kind of get the like big fish in the small pond angle at it, right? Like, there's not a ton of competition out here, so you don't have to, elbow your way through a million other MCs to get to the mic or whatever.
For sure.
Yeah, right. Can you kind of talk about, like, I know in your bars, I've heard you mention how Glitch is one of your homies who kind of taught you how to make beats. And
shout out to Glitch, man.
That opened the door for you to kind of get into making your own music or whatever, right?
So my guy Glitch, I met him a couple of years back, maybe about like 2018. My buddy Langston had us all over at his place for a Freestyle Friday, and he like he masterminded it, got a whole bunch of MCs in the room together, and it was magic, right? And then Glitch was there, and he's like, yo, you guys should come back to my place. I got a studio. We'll fucking jam out some tracks and stuff like that. And we did a couple ciphers, couple different little things here and there. I don't know if anybody, especially in the Alberta scene, had ever heard of Hades. That was my old rap moniker.
Okay.
And those were the days, just ironing out the kinks and figuring out what worked and what didn't. I know it pissed some people off back then. I don't know if you ever followed that shit, but the Alberta Underground.
I think I remember seeing you running around on Facebook, pissing some people off. Yeah.
I was trolling for a bit. It was fun.
I always just stayed clear of it, troll culture on the internet is a weird thing. Like, even when I'm playing video games and shit, like, I've got the same screen name, Doobyis, so it's like I try not to talk too much shit, because I don't want people like pop up in chat and ruin my interviews or whatever the fuck, like try to ruin my interviews,
No, I feel you.
Yeah, man.
It was also really humbling, though, because it was one of those things that, like, I went in there thinking, I'm the fucking best, and I was talking my shit, and I didn't care what people said. Even though I sucked, I only learned that I really was bad, years down the line, looking back. And, the bars were good, but the execution wasn't, and yada, yada. But eventually it's like, I've already put myself out there. There's not really any um any flack anybody there could possibly give me that I haven't already learned myself.
Right.
You know
Kind
what I
of
mean?
owned it yourself or whatever in the
Yeah,
first
yeah,
place,
you
right?
have to, right?
Yeah. So a little bit of a reset then to go from Hades to ILLiam.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
is there Hades music still online? Like, is that stuff
Oh
still around, or
man,
did you delete it
it's
all
pro
and just wipe the history?
it's floating around on a SoundCloud somewhere.
Okay, word. Chat wants me to ask you about a forbidden track called "The Last Ride." Do you know what that person's talking about?
I know exactly what that person's talking about, and I know exactly who is requesting it too, because there's literally only one person
It's,
alive
it's
that
Mickey
would
Dubs.
ever.
Shout to
Yeah,
Mickey
must
Dubs.
be
Yeah.
fucking Mickey Dubs. What does he want to know about it?
He said ask him about the forbidden track, "The Last Ride." Why is it forbidden? That's a good place to
Um,
start, I guess. Is it?
man, I don't know. We were both terribly offbeat then. Oh, shout out to Mickey Dubs though, for real,
Word.
because like if I really wouldn't have got as heavily into rap to this day if not for Mikey. Because like so imagine grade 10, I'm switching schools, I'm going to Paul Kane, St. Albert, right? Got no friends, none of that. Mikey was the first friend that I had at this school, and we became friends because we both liked Eminem,
Yeah.
right? This dude, his plan was to, use the English class at lunch and practice Stan and the real Slim Shady every fucking day at lunch, and then eventually perform it for our whole grade. So, I mean,
Like
here's my
a
new friend doing
talent
something.
show type deal, or like,
Yeah,
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 okay.
yeah. So I was like, fuck it, man. Why not? I'll kick it with this dude. And I'll tell you, man, I don't know how many times I heard those two fucking songs, man. They're like I love Eminem, but I honestly can't fucking listen to those two songs
I feel
anymore,
like those
man.
songs were so big that like probably most of us could rap a lot of them without
Oh yeah,
practicing them, or like even like having to listen to them on repeat at
man.
this point,
With my
right?
eyes closed in my fucking sleep, I could rap both of them.
Yeah, yeah, word. I mean, honestly, that goes for a lot of that guy's first couple albums for me, man. Like,
For sure, for
yeah.
sure.
Can I ask you though, like while you were listening to, avid fan of hip hop, kind of did you quickly get beyond Eminem, or
Eminem.
like
Um. So
how much hip hop you listening to now, kind of?
okay, so it took me a while. I started with Eminem. Of course, I went through like you know, um, the Bad Meets Evil. I was like, okay, this is really cool. I really heavily fuck with Royce. I still say Royce is my top one to this day.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
Royce is
Like I
super
heard
nice, man.
Royce and I was like, his execution is impeccable. I gotta say. Um, but around then I started venturing more into like Lil Wayne, some more Pusha T, some more like it wasn't until a couple years ago that I found MF Doom, and I like rest in peace to MF Doom, man. He's so fucking good. I
Yeah.
love MF Doom. But like I like to listen to all the old school guys. I like to listen to the new school guys that got it. I like to listen to just like I'm super lyrical. I love the lyrical shit. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Dude, yeah, I
But
can tell. I mean, that's honestly the music I gravitate to is like it's the lyrics in hip hop that do it for me, the
it's
word plays and the
it's gotta fucking mean something,
entendres
man.
and all. Yeah, well, and the message behind it too, right? The underdog story kind of,
Hmm.
it's just so easy to grab onto and champion or whatever. But
For sure, for sure.
can I ask you, man, living in Edmonton, were you aware of other local MCs as you were kind of forming your hip hop persona? Like when
It's
you jumped in as Hades and we're talking all that shit about how you're better than everybody else or whatever, like was that completely just like braggadocio shit talk, or like were you actually
it,
listening to other people's music thinking, nah, I can do this better?
well, okay. So my like early introduction into like the scene is, um, I guess the first person I reached out to and first Edmonton rapper I had ever heard of was Arlo Maverick,
Yeah.
right? Him and I haven't talked much or whatever yet, but like we talked a little bit. I was like, oh shit, there's somebody actually in Edmonton actually rapping. I totally thought that there was like the industry was everywhere else, right?
Right.
So I reached out to him. I was like, man, like, can I like, how do I get started? I got all these rhymes. I want to fucking do something. And I mean, the conversation didn't really lead to much. I was also going through a really tumultuous time in my life, so I mean, that probably had a good portion to do with it.
Sure.
But I don't know. I kind of had like I had all these rhymes, and I figured it out, and I was like, I think my content's got it, though my execution might not. It's still, I don't know. I don't want to say I hated on the local scene for a while because I felt like I had to go and get it myself, and I didn't really have any help.
For real.
But that's kind of like that's where it started. I don't want to say I've softened a bit, but I found more love for the local scene since.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, I've seen you working with people from the local scene there, like my homie Deeswax said he was doing some work with you a while back, and BC Twitch is on your newest single there that just dropped like I don't know, a day or two ago, I think.
Yesterday, yeah. Shout out to those guys, man. Fuck
yeah. So if you must have been kind of out and about integrating yourself into the scene and kind of meeting more people, eh?
Well, of course. I mean, like when I first started, I just like I didn't quite have it, so I was just kind of. You ever like just throw shit at the wall until it sticks? You know, it wasn't until I
was rapping when I was 16, so I was in that same boat, man. You just do it until something works.
So it wasn't until I wrote "What Time Is It" at my buddy John's place years ago, a couple of years back, that I was like, okay, this is my standard, and I'm gonna move forward from this. You know, everything else before that, I kind of just like was like, this not super happy with it, but everything from here I can work with, and I'm happy with it.
Nice. Yeah. So talk about kind of is today your first full length album that you put out?
No.
Okay.
Not.
You had some before that?
I had a few before that. I did actually.
As I.L.Liam or as Hades?
I put out one as Hades. Then I had there was a transitional period where I was doing a lot of acid.
That'll help with transitional periods, yeah.
Yeah. I was doing a lot of acid, and my moniker at that point, transitioning between Hades and where I am today, was I.L.L, which like I was really tired of just being this villainous character and feeling like I had to live up to that
rap about name. Crazy straitjackets all the time, right?
Like
murdering
like,
people's mothers. Right?
I didn't feel like that, man, because that's not me. So I was trying to go with I.L., which my name's Liam, so it was just an anagram. So I was like, okay, this kind of works, but it didn't have much of a ring to it, right?
I.L.Liam's better. I.L.Liam's better for sure. I was wondering if your name was William or if your name was Liam. I was guessing one or the other, but yeah.
No, my name is Liam. I.L.Liam's the rap name. Yes.
Nice, man.
But so the Hades album and the I.M.L album are both somewhere on a SoundCloud somewhere. You could probably find it if you do enough digging, but like
there's enough new music. I guarantee you I won't. But just keep sending the new stuff, bro.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. But even the old stuff, there's still like some good substance to them. I just I didn't quite like the execution of it, so I just buried that and decided to go from here forth.
So what did you set out to do with the new album then, with Today?
So with Today, what I wanted to do is I wanted to do my very first fully self-produced album, right? Previous albums I had done tracks like with some Glitch production. Shouts to Glitch again. I did this one joint with what's his fucking name? Shouts to Belio from I'm gonna say Denmark. Correct me if I'm wrong. From Denmark. He produced that Dances with Degenerates 2 joint off of. I did put out another I.L.Liam album. It's still a little rough, but it's there. It's substance, right?
I might have been aware of it, and it might just be slipping my mind. Was that before or after Gorilla Glue? Gorilla Glue was like 2022-ish, right?
That was before Gorilla Glue.
Okay. Yeah, maybe I wasn't paying attention at that point. Did you self-produce everything on Today though?
I did produce every single track on Today.
Beauty,
mixed, mastered, engineered, all of it.
Nice, dude. So, and recorded right there behind you?
Yes.
Nice, man. How about that learning curve? How was kind of learning to engineer yourself and um
Um, well, even from back when I was working at Glitch's studio, he was kind of giving me like the bare bones of how to do a little vocal mix and stuff. So I've been kind of like I've had a foundation to begin from, and just been sort of taking about 5 years to progressively learn how to properly do it. I'm good. I'm not D's-wax good, but I am pretty good.
and
You know what I
everybody's
mean?
always learning. Even Beeswax is always with the new techniques and the new gear.
No,
And
that guy's a
there's no
fucking
end to
wizard,
any of
man.
this shit, man. I think once you start learning more and more about the audio side, there's always something new to learn and there's
Mm-hmm.
always new gear to acquire. And even when you get the super nice mic, like you want
Yeah,
the other mic just for other vocal
textures and
patterns
stuff.
or
Yeah,
whatever.
for
Yeah,
sure.
exactly, right? Like there's no end to it. But what does recording normally look like for you then? Like, are you actually hitting record yourself and turning around to the mic, or like do you get one of your homies to come through and kind of help out engineering?
Um, I like for a solo joint, I like to just do it myself, man. You
Nice.
know, it's no pressure. I don't I don't mind being alone for a bit. I burn a little incense, get in the zone and clap it out, you know?
Late nights
I don't
these.
mind.
I find a lot of artists work into the wee hours of the morning on their own music that way.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, hell yeah. Um, how about this on the end of Good Morning, the track on today. I was
Yes.
listening to it earlier today, and there's like a
Yeah.
real long outro where you're talking to one of your friends
Yes.
and you're critiquing somebody's bars or somebody's style. I didn't really catch who we're talking about there
The
or
man's
whatever.
really been out here, right?
Yeah, but and it just kind of made me wonder, like, do you guys critique each other's music like that? Like, are you open to hearing that kind of feedback about your own stuff from your homies?
Of course.
Yeah,
I always want to, dude, if I suck, I want to hear about it. I want somebody to tell me that it wasn't good so I can learn from it. You know what I mean?
yeah.
But the man's really been out here. Funny story is I have a good buddy. His name is Blaine, and he moved out to Saskatchewan for work. And so me and my other buddy Jake were back still here in Alberta, and he'd call us and he'd just be like, "Yeah, no, I've been out here, you know, just doing my thing." And so like this is a long running joke to the point that me and Jake were just like, "Oh yeah, oh man's really been out there just doing what." So like it was what I aim to do with today is to bring like because I've got like a small little community of friends. I wanted to bring like not just mine, but like our little culture and shitty humor in a little bit of each song here and there. You know what I mean? Like you got the Lions Park skit at the start of Afternoon Delight. You got you know my buddy Cartsy doing his fucking thing on
How
Gets the
many
Money.
fights
I
have you
got
been in at Lions Park?
just
Allegedly.
one, but I've
Allegedly.
observed a few.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. As soon as I asked the question, I was like, wait, no, don't snitch on yourself. But
I've observed a few. It's pretty silly.
yeah, weird. What else did I hear on that new album? You were talking about a crew called like the Whole Heart Crew. Can you tell
The
me about
Whole
the
Heart
Whole Heart?
Collective.
Yeah, okay.
Yes,
Can you tell
yes.
me who's in that?
So that was the inception of Whole Heart Collective was the day that my friend Langston brought us all over to his place for that freestyle Friday. And the original members were myself, Glitch, LV Nomad, um, Lucky Professional, Twig, Mickey Dubs, Murda Bull, Bimmy, and fuck, who was MC Realm. There was definitely one more.
Damn, all sorts of you.
Yeah, yeah. There's a bunch of us.
Okay.
You know
And
what I mean?
are these guys putting out solo work too, or
I think LV Nomad's got a few little joints floating around.
okay,
Um, Twig and Mickey Dubs come record here pretty
right?
regularly.
Yeah, you got Twig
Um,
and Mickey featured on a couple tracks on today, right?
yes,
Yeah, yeah.
yes. Plus, also Twig just dropped his very first mixtape, so shouts to Twig.
Nice, man. Yeah.
Um, yeah. So I mean, like some of us like really stuck with it, some of us didn't. Uh, but it was all love in the beginning, and we ran with it, trying to make the
Yeah.
dopest shit we could.
Crews are funny like that, man. And you already mentioned that, like, it's tough to focus a lot on music if life is unstable or whatever. And
It's true. It's
life
true.
gets unstable. So like I've seen
It
a
does.
lot of people who are super dope back away from it, come back 5, 10 years later, have a
Yeah.
kid, come back when the kid is 12 and they finally get some free time or whatever.
Yes,
Um,
sir. Yes, sir.
that happens a lot. I wouldn't be surprised if, yeah, that's the case with a lot of up and coming MCs as well too. Dude, the last track I wanted to ask you about from today
Yes.
on late night, I
Yes.
was laughing, and it's one of my favorite things when an MC who really has no business like singing is gonna sing on a track, and I don't.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure you were a little bit off key on some of
A
those
little
notes
bit.
or
Yeah.
whatever, right? But like,
Yeah.
like it was my favorite when Ghostface was kind of doing some singing like that on some of his stuff, busting out into soul jams or whatever. And so I'm here for it. But I just wanted to
Yeah.
ask you, like, I feel like a lot of people, especially like younger dudes coming into rap right now, if they're gonna sing, they're gonna auto tune it. And so I wanted to
Yeah.
ask you, like,
That was not
what's
auto tune.
well, I could tell. I could tell that
Yeah.
wasn't auto
Yeah.
tune. But like, so what's your approach to singing on tracks? Do you?
So that one in particular, I was just kind of I was melodizing, trying to do whatever the fuck I could, and I sat with it and I was like, you know what, this it kind of fits with the vibe of the song. I'm gonna sit with it and then just move on to the next one, because you get to a point where you like, I've been swinging at this track and it's not sticking, but it still fits for where it needs to be. It's not like a crazy, A side banger that's gonna make it to like it's not gonna top the charts, nothing like that.
Yeah.
But it's where it needs to be. Um as far as actual singing goes, I have been taking vocal lessons for the past year or so. I plan to, I don't know, sing a little bit more in a few of these hooks.
Man, that's
See what I
interesting.
can.
So, like, since becoming an MC and like trying to put out rap music, you've decided, oh, maybe I should take some vocal lessons. And
Yeah,
okay, so
what?
what do
Why
those
not?
look like? Is it like, do they work with you on kind of like breath control and like rap stuff too, or is it
So,
mostly about like pitch and hitting beautiful notes?
so, uh, to I gotta first shout out Julia Borden. She's my vocal coach over at Long and McQuaid.
Cool.
She is awesome. She is excellent. So it really started out that I wanted to learn to sing a song for my girlfriend for her birthday or something. And now I'm out here trying to do stuff like different ballads like Oh Darling by the Beatles,
Yeah,
just for the
hitting up
like
karaoke nights and shit.
just,
Or
yeah,
uh,
just to like properly stretch and challenge my vocal cords to be able to do stuff like that. You know what I mean?
that's dope, man.
And
Keep expanding the skill set or whatever, right?
well, and the way, and a quote that I heard once was, inspiration always comes, it just has to find you working,
Mm, yeah.
right? So the idea is I'm already making tracks, rapping and stuff like that. If I become a decent little singer, I might be able to I might find something that, oh, it's not just rap. I don't have to stick to just rapping in my music. You know what I mean?
Yeah, hell yeah. Dude, I think that's smart. It's all vocals, and yeah, you don't want to pigeon yourself to one niche too much. So yeah, it's good to
Well,
have
look at Drake, man. He's one of the biggest fucking artists in the world. And what does he do? He raps and he sings.
exactly, yeah. Um, and I mean, the auto tune will help, but you still got to, yeah. The better you can hit the notes, the better you're
For
gonna
sure,
sound.
for
Yeah.
sure.
Let's see.
Did you like that new joint with BC Twitch though?
Yeah, man, I
On
thought that
Hustle?
was pretty dope. I haven't heard much from BC Twitch. I've seen him like on a couple of the like freestyle nights that Thug Shells has streamed or whatever. I
Yeah,
tuned in
yeah.
and watched a couple of those and saw him down freestyling.
I think he moved back to BC and he's been working on building up his own studio for a bit though.
Okay.
So I'm looking forward to working with him some more soon
Is
as
that
well.
dude's name BC Twitch because he like Twitch streams? Like, is
I think it.
he on here?
Well, he actually told me because he went and fucking stayed on my couch for the night that I did the Today album release party or whatever. He came and performed there,
Nice.
and so he told me the story is his rap name used to be just Twitch, right? And he was from BC, and then he came out here to Alberta, started rapping. And they're like, "Oh,
Found
it's
out there's
Twitch
four
from
other
BC."
rappers named Twitch or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
That happens. Okay. How about, dude? I've been working on a theory where I've been asking everybody like, are you from a musical family? Do your parents play any instruments? Because I feel like it takes a couple generations to make an artist at
Yeah,
this point, and a lot of people like have that door opened by an older someone in their family who shows them some music shit.
for sure, for sure. My grandpa was like the karaoke king of Alberta, man. You go to any fucking karaoke joint in Alberta, I almost guarantee you they got his name in the fucking roster somewhere on their computer,
Beautiful,
right?
man.
This guy this guy was around, man. He did all sorts of singing. And so uh he put my mom onto a lot of music, and then my mom put me onto shit, and my stepdad put me onto shit, and it was like I've been surrounded by music ever since I was born.
Nice,
So
man. Yeah, that goes a long ways to teaching people just rhythm or whatever, even
yes,
just
sir, yes,
having
sir.
music in the house. How about this, dude? I get a lot of different answers on this question, but
Okay,
a lot of these I like serving up to different people because I get the different answers. But so, what
okay.
does success as an artist look like for you? Um,
Oh man,
you know,
um, that's a good question.
yeah, there's
I think
a lot of different goals people have, right?
I think success as an artist is to not have to worry about the money side of things, to be able to go and create your art, and that be your purpose. You not have to worry about, oh fuck, my rent's not going to get paid. Oh, my car note, whatever. Oh, the shit. Not have to worry about the life shit, the financial
Yeah,
side of things. When your art is when you've put so much into your art that your art is putting you on, so you don't have to worry about that shit.
oh, yeah,
That is success as an artist
yeah, man.
at its
Going to
most
work can
base.
really kill the creativity. You know, it can
Oh,
really
it can.
kill the vibe when you've got to do the 40 hours a week and uh,
Yeah,
a
because
lot of
once your art is your work, it's all just play.
right.
You
Yeah,
know.
beautiful, man. Um, how about writing? What does that look like for you? Are you the type of guy that
Ooh.
sits down to write an entire song at once, or are you chipping away bit by bit?
Uh, Sometimes a little of both. Um, so I years ago started this little thing where I realized that with rhymes there's finite vowel sounds, right? There's only the A-E-I-O-U, and then like the few branches down of that, right? So I went and I just it's gonna sound weird. I assimilated Rhyme Zone into the notes app on my phone, right? And now it's up to like 6 syllable rhymes and shit like that. Like I got like 2,400 fucking pages of rhymes, man. And if when I meet you in person, I'm gonna have to show you. Maybe I'll publish it someday, but it's really quite ridiculous. I told you I was doing a lot of acid at the time, so it just
Kind of free
yeah.
association flows, or what?
Well,
how does writing
it,
on acid turn out?
writing on acid is like it. I don't know. It's very a little bit sporadic. It's a little bit more nonsensical.
Yeah.
Um, it's I don't know. I don't know how to describe writing on acid, man.
Have you released music you've written in that state?
I have definitely.
Okay,
That was on the IML album. It's if you want to hear what writing on acid sounds like, that
that's
you
where to
can
go.
find it.
All right, man. Um, your friend Mickey Dubs here in chat, he was saying that you normally are pretty good at just doing like a minimal amount of takes. Do you practice shit you've written a lot before it's time to actually record it, or
I feel like I feel like you should.
yeah,
Anybody should. You know what I mean? You want to like, if it's your art, you got to take it seriously, right? You don't want to go on the mic with something that you haven't practiced enough, and then you're standing there fumbling your words when it's time for you to deliver it, right? You have time in the day. You know what I mean? You got to take a little bit of pride in your art, especially if it's something that like you plan to go perform someday.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I would agree for the performance, especially. And I think
Yeah.
for a certain type of song, it's important to have those lyrics, you know, that you've written ready to go before
Yes.
you jump in the booth. But then on the other hand, there's some songs that come together kind of on the fly where you're, you know, writing in the booth, or at least, you know, some guys do that. Like I talked to
Yeah. Yeah.
Sazy, he says, I don't ever touch a pen or whatever.
Yeah.
Sazy's a Niagara Falls based artist who's dope as fuck if you
Okay.
don't know his music. But he just talks
That's the
about like
Sazy.
jumping in the, yeah, shouts to Sazy. He just talks about jumping in the booth and fucking recording until, you know, the freestyle would end, chopping it off, thinking of what to say next, and going back at it, right? Like kind of,
Yeah.
I feel like I've seen Lil Wayne record like that on some footage
Yes.
or whatever,
Yes.
right? Yeah, yeah,
Well, I come from like where I come from is the like the Studio 304 with my buddy Glitch though, is that like it wasn't just me there. It was, you know,
yeah.
myself, it's got Scotty Lucky Professional in there, you got Twig there, you got LV Nomad, you
So
got
you're using other
everybody
people's
there.
time. Yeah,
Everybody there is trying to, you know, rap, record something, you know what I mean? So if I'm standing around doing 20, 30,
for
40,
real.
50 fucking takes of the same goddamn verse, it's wasting not only the engineer's time, but like everybody else trying to get their shit out.
Yeah. Would you prefer that type of like crowd setting in the studio, or do you prefer recording by yourself?
Um, I feel like both have their upsides and both have their downsides
Yeah.
because especially as a starting artist, for any starting artist, I will recommend the crowd side because you have a sounding board. If these people are working with you, they got to have the decency to tell you when something ain't it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Can't have a bunch of yes men around you
I
only.
don't know how many
Yeah.
songs I put out that just weren't it, and there was only maybe like one or two people ever who told me when it wasn't. Shouts to LV Nomad for that. He always gave me the raw facts. And if I sucked, he fucking told me if I sucked.
It's got to be a real homie to tell you that. In my experience,
For
like
real.
next to nobody will tell you that. Especially like I heard you mention you're 6'1" or whatever. Like especially as a big dude, nobody's going to tell you they don't like your shit.
Yeah,
If,
yeah.
if they don't
They're
like your shit,
intimidated,
nobody's
right? They're
saying
not
it.
gonna.
Yeah,
For
I'm
sure,
6'2". Nobody's ever told me they don't like a bar, man. Like, it doesn't fucking happen. I
for
mean,
real.
yeah, yeah. Other than the really good homies, right? Um,
Exactly.
how about this question, dude? Do you get more fulfillment from being on stage or from actually just making the music in studio?
Ooh, that is a good question. I think can I offer a third option there?
Of course, yeah. Take it in any
Okay.
direction you want.
So I enjoy both of those things, but I think it's stuff like I got one track, I don't know if you heard Buckets off of my off the Fashionably Late album.
I'd have to go tap
Or
back in.
or Fashionably Late mixtape, sorry.
Okay.
Um that one I really like. I went and flipped the sample of what was the song called? Rust by El Huervo, which is on the Hotline Miami 2 soundtrack. Shouts to Hotline Miami and the Devolver Digital guys for doing their thing, man. It's
Okay.
a hell of a game. But I went and just like I took that and I rapped over it, and I went and touched on like stuff about addiction, about like people suffering with depression, and you know, not like giving too much of themselves to other people when they need to take care of themselves. You know what I mean? You gotta like trying to offer different little bouts of wisdom and shit like that.
Yeah.
And I think the most fulfillment that I get from music, sure, making people smile with different, you know, entertaining stuff is really cool. But seeing wisdom I've learned and taken to convey into my music to other people and seeing that play out and other people learn from my mistakes and what I try to offer is
Yeah.
probably the most fulfilling part of this game.
Yeah, man. As much as like, you know, Nas told Jay, like, what, you trying to kick knowledge or something? It's
Yeah,
like I like it when a guy is gonna kick some knowledge, right? Like you should have
exactly.
some fucking wisdom to pass, some, even if it's just a different way of looking at the world or whatever. Like, yeah, there's gotta be something in music beyond just like, I don't know, kind of
The
the,
the substance is the best part, man, by far.
yeah. Um So, and one of the reasons I like a lot of your lyrics is because there is that stuff peppered into it. When I was listening to your newest album today,
Yeah,
there's a lot of talk about, you know, pussy and money, and like there's not a ton of that like
there's a little bit. Yeah.
social conscious side to it or whatever.
Okay.
Do you did you intentionally do that on that project? Because I feel like some of your other stuff has more socially conscious stuff.
Um, I feel like some parts had a little bit of it and some didn't.
Yeah,
I mean, that I definitely had a little more. I don't want to say, how could I say it, commercially viable
yeah,
content
yeah.
in
Well,
it.
and that's the thing is
A little
like
more entertaining
we,
stuff.
we
But
both know that people don't always want to hear us talk about like, oh fuck the government, or like, you know, social
yeah, yeah,
commentary shit, right? Like
yeah,
there's got to be music to play in the club, or music to play when you're with your girl, or music to
for
play,
sure.
you know, when you just want to have fun at a barbecue or whatever. Like I think there's definitely lanes for both of them, but
Yes, yes.
I guess maybe do you have any plans to do more socially conscious stuff in the future, or like you were talking about addiction and kind of, you know, some of those issues, like that's heavy stuff to touch on, right? It's tough to pepper that into something that's more commercially viable, like you say.
I'm hoping to find the balance between the two.
Yeah,
And I've so far heard of one artist actually really do it successfully and reflect on it. And it was, I don't know if you heard the Mask Off remix by Future featuring Kendrick Lamar.
I was just gonna say, are we talking about Kendrick here? Because
Yeah,
yeah,
and
I would say
he
Kendrick
said,
does
quote
that pretty
unquote,
well.
how y'all let a conscious go commercial while only making conscious albums,
Right.
right? And that's the that's the idea, is I want to be able to make stuff that still has that breaking the fourth wall, that's still,
Yeah.
you know, for the good of the people, uplifting people,
I mean,
but it still sounds good enough to be played in those settings.
it's
That's
so
the idea.
rare that artists manage to nail that. Like it's really just these like special unicorn artists who manage to, yeah,
Yes.
make stuff that's commercially viable and, you know, manage to
You
get
got to
their
be
way
able to
into
learn
the
both sides in order to like
platinum
get them to come
levels.
together.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
But still say something in their music, and yeah, that the ones that do it, it's really special to see, man.
Yes, yes.
How about this, dude? Are the days of labels done? We've kind of been watching,
Ooh,
like, even over the past weeks, like all these execs are stepping down. I don't know
ooh.
why, whether that's the industry dying or if it's because there are gonna be charges coming at them with all this fucking disgusting Diddy shit, or
Mm,
like I don't know, man. But so yeah, do you think the days of a major label being like something people want to be on is done? Because I talk to a lot of guys
mm.
that just want to stay indie.
That is a good question, because I feel like it depends on what your goal is in the industry,
Yeah,
right? I feel like if you're really strapped for cash and really just like, I feel like signing with a label gives you, and the right label, not just any fucking label, not this label that you go on Facebook and this guy is just commenting, oh, you know, I'll sign you to my label and then you, whatever, right?
yeah,
Because for all intents and purposes, I own my own label, right?
yeah,
If I'm going to sign to a label, they have to be able to offer me something that I can't do myself, right? Whether it's a crazy marketing budget, maybe, right? Because then
yeah. Having your
what your
face on
goal,
buses matters. You know that goes a
exactly,
long way. Yeah,
exactly, right?
yeah,
So like something like if you, it depends on what your goal is as an artist, right? If you have the goal of, you know, I got a message that I need to get out to the people, right? It's not about the money. It's about going to these labels and making sure that your art gets um the proper viewership of it through the label,
yeah,
right? Because they got these techniques, they have these tried and true methods of getting people's art out, right? That said, not everybody's art is going to cut it for a label, right?
Definitely. No, dude, at this point, they don't even have like, you know, artist development or A&Rs out looking for talent. They just sit back and wait until somebody has a hit
Well,
that pops off on whatever social media platform and gets them a billion followers, and then they go offer money to that guy, you know?
oh yeah, but they do have some like development deals and shit on the low.
Right.
I actually had some guy from like I think it was Cash Money West reach out to me and want to get me into a development deal or something like that. But I looked at it, I was like, you know, as cool as it sounds, right? I'm already going and taking my own vocal lessons. I'm already making my own beats. I'm already learning to engineer and all that of my own craft.
Yeah.
I'm already writing on my own. Like I am a one man fucking show, man. Like what?
Aside from the marketing, what does somebody
Yeah,
really get from a label? Yeah.
that's what it is, right?
I mean, I guess industry connects to a certain level. They probably can link you with, you know, people who otherwise might not want to work with an independent or something, maybe. But yeah, it's definitely tough to weigh the benefits and drawbacks of it at this point. Yeah.
Of course.
So talking about marketing, do you ever think about like a target audience?
Um,
Who are you making music for?
do you think that Kendrick Lamar has a target audience? Do you think Drake has a target audience?
I think Drake has a target audience. I think
it's usually women, isn't it? Right?
Yeah, Drake's is for sure. Kendrick is a tougher one to answer. Kendrick might just be making art that he wants to make and not really worrying about who is or isn't going to like it.
I feel like Kendrick
an album
has...
like Mr. Morale kind of showed that like he might not give a fuck if people want to play that in a club or not. I'm not sure, you know?
I feel like he does it for I don't know. I'm gonna say that a lot of conscious rappers, what they'll do is that they're making their art to like uplift their people.
Yeah.
As a whole, right? Sure, you know, you got your club banger here and there. You got your fucking you know, your strip club joint, you got your stuff to make love to your girl too, all that. But you hear a lot of their stuff like in Mos Def. You hear a Mos Def song that doesn't have something where he's trying to uplift his people. Common.
Yeah.
Like Talib Kweli, it's that's what it's about, right? And
to me, that's what like just the actual like culture of hip hop is about, right? Is like it's a
like the
community and uplifting and yeah, exactly. The real hip hop, like as kind of lame sounding as that is for two white guys to be like, yeah, we know the real hip hop, but like, yeah, as far as KRS-One taught me from the gospel of hip hop, that's what hip hop is supposed to be, right? So I don't know. Personally, I capitalize it anytime I spell hip hop. You know, that's the name of a culture. So you know, but yeah, I know some MCs take that more or less seriously, and I don't think there's a right answer to it. It's just a question of what people want to do, right?
Yeah. So I guess sorry I deviated a bit from your question. Target audience, people willing to be uplifted. You know, there's definitely going to be some people in a real negative state of mind that, you know, maybe it'll take them longer to find their way to you know, trying to improve themselves and all that.
Right? Hey, here's another thing that I think is largely opinion based that I was thinking about earlier as I was listening to your stuff, man. How important do you think humor is to hip hop or to your music specifically? I guess more so than just to the entire culture, but
I feel like there's a time and place for it. I myself am kind of a cheeky guy. You know what I mean? It's I've asked my friends about it. I always have a shitty one liner right around the corner somewhere. I think that humor is, I don't know. I'm a big Wheezy fan, right? So a lot of like, I like punchlines.
Yeah.
You know, not everybody's big on punchlines.
Lyricism that makes you chuckle. At best, sometimes it comes off like about as funny as dad jokes, but still to lyricists we hear it and we're like, I see what he did there, you know?
We're like, ha, good one.
Yeah.
Exactly.
How about full on joke rap though, like Lonely Island and
Oh,
fucking Lil Dicky and that type of stuff? It's always rubbed me the wrong way, but I wanted to ask you about it because like you do joke around in your music quite a bit. There's definitely
I
an
do,
element of
yes.
like,
I,
haha,
I
we're
I
having a good
do
time. Yeah,
I do like to have fun with my music like that.
yeah,
I I like the Lonely Island. I'm a big fan of the Lonely Island. I used to bump them in high school. Growing up, looking back on it, wouldn't listen to them quite as much or in the same way as I used to. I still I like their approach to
right.
joke rap. You know what I mean? It was like it was like no holds barred. You know what I mean? They just like they went with it, even if they were looking silly in it, full on fucking committed to the joke, right? They got T-Pain singing about "I fucked a mermaid," right?
Yeah.
That that shit's funny, man. You
Dude, I
know,
had a guy in one of these interviews tell me that he fell in love with autotune when he first heard T-Pain singing on that Lonely Island track and was
that's
like,
fucking funny.
I mean, all right. And now like he's, a singer slash rapper who like auto-tunes all his own shit up and like he produces
That
as well. But yeah, it was not what I
that's
expected to
fucking
hear
funny.
that was the T-Pain track that brought him in. But yeah, it's always interesting to hear people's kind of entry points or whatever.
Right
Um,
on, right on.
yeah, man. How about Spotify? This has been a big topic for artists
Ooh,
lately. You've well, what are your
can
thoughts
I
on Spotify?
can I
Let's just do it that
can I
way.
pause for just a second? My phone's at like 10%. I just got to plug it in my
Oh, yeah,
computer
yeah,
real
for
quick.
sure, man. Yeah,
Give me a sec.
yeah, no worries.
Okay, there we go. There we go. We
Okay.
got it charging. We're good to go.
All right, so we're
The life of
back.
this interview is restored. Here we
Yeah,
go.
we're back. We're no longer be right back.
Yes,
So
sir. Yes, sir.
thoughts on Spotify, man? Are you?
Oh man.
Uh,
Um, Spotify is. I have a complicated kind of view on Spotify. I think that I think that it's probably the current like way to get your music out there
yeah,
is at least having it on Spotify, right? Because I feel like most people listen to it on Spotify because it's easy, convenient, whatever, right?
for real. Yeah,
I don't like how little they pay artists,
yep.
but at the same time, I feel like you have to like it's you have to actually like fight to get your shit listened to, right?
Did you know their CEO got a $400 million annual bonus just the other day? These motherfuckers are caking off out there on the backs of a bunch of independent artists who are making nothing. You know, it's
Which is it's pretty fucked. But at the same time, not everybody like there's so many people that can just go and upload like rough mix MP3 to Spotify and then they put it out and they're like, "Oh, here's my new song." And it like I don't want to say it's unappealing, but like they go and they put that out and that's their song because it's so easy to get your shit on Spotify.
yeah.
But
Anybody
then
with a
they're
mic
like,
and $15 can get their song on Spotify. Yeah,
they're like, "Oh man, why is nobody listening to my song?" Because you haven't put, the work into making it sound good,
for real.
right? For some people anyway. Um,
There's
but
also
that
dope
said,
artists getting slept on. I can vouch for them.
there
Just
is. There's
listening to
plenty of
everybody
fucking
across the
dope artists
country.
getting slept on.
Yeah, definitely. But
It's really sad. But
definitely some of the other guys too. Yeah.
yeah, it's as far as Spotify goes, though, I feel like for any artist in this day and age, it's a necessary evil to conquer, one way or another. I feel like the best thing you can do though is get your shit not just on Spotify, get all of your like current music out on every platform.
Yeah.
Spotify, iTunes, Amazon Music, uh, SoundCloud, YouTube, all of that. Get it there because I've got friends who listen to music in a bunch of different ways. I got one buddy who like all he listens to is like he has YouTube Premium, right? If I get my shit on Spotify, he doesn't care. He doesn't notice,
Right.
right?
But if
So
it's
I
on
got to make
YouTube,
it.
he'll find
You
it.
got to
Yeah.
make you got to make it like for as an artist, it's difficult now as an artist because you got to make sure that your shit gets distributed everywhere,
Yeah.
right? If you only focus on Spotify, then you're missing the audiences of people that listen, that have iPhones, that I listen on iTunes.
Yeah.
Right.
How about Bandcamp? Do you do Bandcamp? You got a Bandcamp?
I don't have a Bandcamp. I never got into it.
Oh, you should set that one up, bro. Because they give you the biggest slice of the money when people actually want to buy your music. Send them to Bandcamp to do it. Yeah, it's kind of the last bastion for indies to try to sell their music, because like even on iTunes, I think it's like they charge the customer $1.29 for a single.
Yeah,
but it's like I think
you get like 70 cents, something like that.
Something along those lines. That was what I was going to guess too.
The distributor that I go through, I get a decently pretty big cut when somebody buys it.
Nice. I was going to say too, talking about Spotify and just streaming in general, any of the streaming platforms, I think it's important that as artists we kind of do like an awareness campaign and raise this idea that like, yeah, stream the music. Like you used to listen to music on the radio, but then if you like it, go fucking buy it. Go out to the
no shit.
Go out to the concert, support the artists who are making the music. And I don't think we need to get rid of Spotify, because like you said, it's great to be able to have your music and just be able to tell people, yeah, punch my name in, you'll find it. Whatever platform you're on, you'll find it. But then please, if you want to support me, fucking do more than just that or whatever, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's difficult because like I feel like there's like, on one hand, we should be able to like be able to ask for some support from people, but we can't be entitled to it.
Yeah, totally.
As artists,
totally
right. I don't know, it goes with the same thing of where people are like, oh, nobody cares to work harder. Sure, don't quote me entirely on that, because people care, yada yada.
Yeah,
but like there's those people who will get their $15 mic and get a shitty rip off YouTube and like just get a type beat, still won't pay to get the tag off it, and put their song out, won't mix it, and their vocals sound like it's clipping all over the fucking place. They put their song out and they're like, man, this is so good. Why aren't people listening to my music?
Yeah, man, we can't let ourselves get diluted, and gotta stay grounded, right?
Yeah, you got it's not about like, because there's also the thing about the truth too is there's people who will outright shit on your stuff, and then there's people who will be like, oh, this is how you can improve.
Yeah, totally.
Right. And that's what this industry needs, is more people who like have the ear, or will take the time and have the patience to explain to some people, oh, here's where here's what I can hear you could improve on, try this, right? And
yeah,
and some people
it's so important to have people around you who will actually tell you the truth. You can't just surround yourself with yes men, right? Even working with different producers or engineers, if you're just paying them, they might not tell you.
But he's not going to give a fuck.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Until that relationship's developed a bit, you're not going to get that constructive feedback.
Mm-hmm.
But you know what, man? I got a lot of questions here for you. Are you willing to stick around for a few more minutes? Keep this thing going for a while?
For sure, man. I got time. I came here for the talk.
Dope. All right, so I do this how important section where I ask how important is this or that. You can be brief or long-winded, whatever. Let's start. How important is making music videos in 2024?
Ooh. I think that it can be a very, very strong marketing tool. I think that, so here's the thing. I think that it's important, but I would prioritize making music good enough to deserve a video first.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Do you have any videos out?
I have a few little small ones, nothing crazy. But I'm still like, we're still kind of investing in getting like the video department of Full Heart Entertainment like up and running. Right now it's just me and Mickey Dubs running around with a camcorder at this point. we're doing the best we can, but we're in the middle of an upgrade to 4K right now. So we're that requires a bit of a the extra motherboard processor. It's a little expensive, but that's the next move, and hopefully we will have 4K videos coming out this coming year.
Nice.
That's the plan.
So, next one. How important is getting grants for a Canadian artist?
Ooh, okay. So I actually just went to a session or an info session about getting grants and like trying to get grants. It was the Edmonton Arts Council that held the session. My buddy Rich invited me. Shout out
Yeah,
Rich
definitely.
Mitchinson.
Shout out to
He's the
Rich
man.
Mitchinson. He's been talking to
Um,
me a little bit about getting
but
grants
yeah,
lately. I think
So
Deez was there too, right?
yes, he was there. So getting grants um can be very useful. You got to know what you're using it for though, and you got to have like the right approach. This is just me distilling what I learned in that hour and a half long session roughly. You got to I feel like you can do lots without a grant to get started, right? But at the same time, it's gonna like if you have confidence in your art and you're like, I have a plan with this, a grant can be what you need to help get started, right?
Real.
Um, if you're still in the throwing shit at the wall stage, a grant can still help with that, right? I think it's well, just the one that I heard about it was the tier one that's experimentation, whatever, right? But it's I think it can be very helpful, but you got to know how to ask
Right.
and know what you're trying to get out of it.
Yeah, and I think be persistent too, right?
Yes.
I was saying this with Deezwax when we were talking about it last week that I think like a lot of people don't get that first one, but after they see you applying again and again and again, and I think they'll kind of give you a little bit of a critique on like why your last one didn't work out or whatever a
I
lot
should
of the
hope
time.
so. Yeah.
Yeah, right. So I think if people stay at it, eventually they develop that skill set to a point where they can get those grants or whatever. Or people pay people to write their grants for them too
Yeah.
sometimes, right? But yeah. How about how important is having a DJ for your stage show?
Ooh, a DJ. Um, that is a good question. I feel like I feel like depends on the certain kind of hip hop you're trying to make, right? If you're just trying to make the straight bangers like played in the club, whatever, right? You need a producer more than you need a DJ at that point, right? Because oftentimes shows will come with the DJ. The promoters got the DJ there. It is very helpful to have a DJ, right? Especially one who knows how to scratch. If you're trying to do like the more, I don't want to say analog hip hop,
Yeah.
but more classic hip hop, right? You get somebody who knows how to fucking scratch on that. Your beat's gonna sound a hell of a lot better,
Yeah.
right?
I
Um,
saw kind of a fellow internet critic, I think it was Trevor Devine. He's like a Toronto-based promoter who was
okay.
talking today about how like a lot of you MCs are out there calling yourself hip hop and you've never had a DJ scratch a hook on any of your songs. And I was like, I'm proud of myself for working a lot with DJ Dice, who no one can
Yeah.
tell me isn't real hip hop, because I would agree. I don't know if you can be hip hop if you're not ever working with DJs, like it's one of
For
the
sure.
elements, right? It's an important piece. Um, how about having a hype man on stage?
Oh, a hype
How
man.
important is that?
I I feel like it depends again on the kind of hip hop that you're trying to do, right? Actually, I can give some good examples of this. I have had songs where I've had like a hype man on it, and um, you got to go in with a plan with your hype man. You know what I mean? You got to go in and be like, okay, so you know, say your hype man is performing a collab song with you, right? So he comes on, um, or you do the song together, and then he does the hype manning for the song after, right? You got to go in to that concert knowing, hey, this is you got to choreograph what you're doing, right?
Right.
Um, for
Put some practice
the
in.
best,
Don't just bring your homie up on stage and
and be like, hey, shout my fucking lyrics. No, like,
yeah,
dude's got to know the lyrics. He's got to, if he's gonna hype man it, he's got to be a little bit committed to the role,
100%,
right?
man. Yeah.
I've also got songs where I don't know if you've heard the song "What's Up" with me and Mickey Dubs were like um on each other's verses. We specifically put like for the ad libs and dubs or whatever. We both like I went and threw the dubs over his verse just so it would have like a Beastie Boys kind of
Right.
punch
Group
to each.
vocals or whatever.
Yeah, exactly,
Yeah.
right? So I mean, anytime that me and him have done that, we hype man each other's verses, right? It's a cool dynamic, and it has definitely a place in hip hop, and it can be it can be really cool when executed well.
Real.
When hype manning goes wrong, though, there was a show. I'm not going to say exactly who this was, but there was a show a couple years back where I got invited out to the show. It was somebody's birthday or whatever, and these guys came in from can't remember where, and he they brought a bunch of their homies with them, and there was like probably 8 to 10 dudes on that stage, and 3 of them were passing around the mic, and the other 7 were standing up there looking awkward,
Yeah.
dancing offbeat, not really dancing, kind of just standing around, and it looks like it
Unless you're
wasn't.
like the Locks, you don't need guys standing on stage looking tough or whatever
Well,
behind you.
they
Like,
weren't looking tough though.
yeah,
It was
especially if they're not looking tough and not actually
it was
looking
a
proper
like
up there. Yeah,
it when it takes away from the spectacle instead of add to it is when not to have that kind of hype man in it.
for real. How about
Yeah.
how important? This is kind of a standard answer. I just like making MCs say it, but how important is
All right.
just a stage show in general? Like,
A stage show in general.
yeah, like
Ooh.
how important is a good stage show?
Okay. If you're going to be a rapper, maybe not necessarily. You get handed the mic and you go fucking lip sync to your stuff, do whatever, right?
Right.
If you're an MC, you have to master the ceremony, man. That's in the name,
Yeah.
right? The stage show comes with that.
Yeah.
Right. I think that as an MC, if you're going to call yourself an MC and you're going to write your own rhymes, you're going to do all that, absolutely a stage show.
Yeah, hell yeah, man. I like what you said, that like some guys can get away with just going up there and being a rapper, and you know, they'll
Go
sing over top of their own auto-tuned lyrics coming out of the speakers or whatever, just lip sync it, and yeah, it works for some people. There are successful acts out there doing that, running around doing that, but
Yep.
I agree with what you said, man. If you're gonna call yourself an MC, you should figure out how to command the stage and you
got to move the crowd, man.
Keep people's attention, for real. How about how important is working with local producers?
Ooh, I feel like some people get their start with a producer elsewhere. Sometimes they find their producer locally.
Yeah.
I was blessed to meet Glitch in the first place, and I think that if you can find somebody like willing to really take the time to work with you, it can be really awesome to work with your own producer, right?
And like develop a sound or whatever. Some guys get on because they've developed a sound with their specific producer.
Figure out your process. Yeah. Because I would not be here doing what I'm fucking doing today if I had not met Glitch.
Nice, man.
I'm saying that right now.
Can I ask more about him? Like, is he working with other locals, or like, does he have work out that's solo work, or?
So what's going on with Glitch is, I mean, he's always been a bit of a difficult guy to get a hold of, but he like we were working on stuff together for a while, and then he met this girl. They got together. He had a kid, and now he works out of town and like is just trying to make sure he feeds his family and stuff like that. Yeah. But when he comes back to visit, we sesh, do something. I'm currently sitting on like 50 or 60 different Glitch beats that like I bought like the rest of his old crate, and we're actually I'm not gonna tease it too much more, but Glitch is hoping to do a full producer project, and we're gonna get a bunch of us on it soon.
I'll be on the lookout for that, man.
Yes, no, that's gonna be extravagant. I'm excited.
As well as that, you also told me before we started this thing, you've got a bunch of singles coming up soon, right?
Yes, yes, I do.
Is it going to be like kind of weekly or bi-weekly or monthly, or like what's the release order look like?
So as far as releases go, um, one thing that they don't tell you about releases, and this is game for any artists out there listening right now, um, to get the proper promotion from Spotify. Like I said, it's a necessary evil. You got to figure out how to work it to be able to make sure that it goes in your favor. You have to make sure that you have your song set to release like a month, at least a month in advance for them to put you on release radar to be able to get qualified for some of these little playlisty things.
Is it for a month? I'd heard it was for 2 weeks.
I heard it was 4 weeks at least.
Okay.
If not like so I'm still testing this out right now. I've got one song right now I just got to make the cover art for, and then I'm going to set that to like I don't know, maybe 4 or 5 weeks in advance, see how that works.
Right.
I'm still testing the water with that.
And then like apply to different playlists, or like how does that even work to get on those editor playlists?
Okay, so some of them you can get on them through Spotify. Go through Release Radar for to like you got Release Radar is a thing that will get you some traction like right off the bat if you make sure that your song is release or get it ready to release like a month ish in advance.
Okay.
As far as different playlists and stuff like that, you might just have to reach out to some local guys. I got in contact with this guy Cast Tactics over in BC, and he's a pretty cool guy, pretty lax, pretty chill guy. He makes his own beats, all that shit. Yeah. And he's got a decent playlist going. There's a little community on that playlist, and we all, send that we stream and stuff like that.
Nice.
Playlists are important to get because it's hard to reach your music out there. You can go and take your song and spam it to fucking groups. You can message it to however many fucking people, but people are gonna block you. People are not gonna fucking listen to it because it's like nobody's gonna click the link to your shit if it's just a link to your shit.
Yeah.
Right. It's the same thing about being entitled,
but especially if it's the first time they've seen you, right?
Right.
Yeah, you really need to kind of build up that familiarity by being constant with drop after drop after drop, and maybe they'll click it the 4th time or whatever.
Well, right? not even just that, but also if you're gonna send just a raw link to somebody,
no, don't do that.
They're not gonna fucking they're not gonna click your shit.
Yeah.
Right. If you make a post and you're like, advertise it a little bit. Yeah. Oh, it's a hot new jam. I think I put that for a song recently.
You did. That was the BC Twitch one. It made me chuckle. This hot new jam. I was like, good publicity wording there.
Yeah, you gotta jazz it up a little bit, right? Otherwise, people they're not gonna click on your shit.
Yeah.
Right. If you're a writer, that's a part of your game. You got to be able to write something jazzy to get people into clicking your shit.
For real, man. Shouts to your homie Damaged Goods. He's in chat and wanted me to let you know
shouts
that
to my slime Damaged Goods. Yeah.
People are coming through chat. How important is it opening for big name rappers when they come through town?
I feel like it depends on the big name rappers.
Yeah.
You got to be a good fit for the show.
100%.
Okay, let me give you an example, okay? So say if like NBA Youngboy, NBA Youngboy?
Yeah. I mean, I'm aware of him more than I'm really familiar with his music, but yeah, I'm aware that that's a person out there rapping. Yeah.
Let me give you a better example then. Not everybody knows NBA Youngboy.
I'm more familiar with like his legal drama and shit, seeing headlines of him on various social media.
But like say you wouldn't put like an old head boom bapper on a new school auto-tune show.
Yeah.
Right?
I have a pretty good idea of what type of music NBA YoungBoy probably makes, and yeah, it
Yeah,
wouldn't match up with
he's still got some bangers, man.
some
I still
people.
jam some NBA young boys sometimes, right?
Oh,
But
that's the beauty of
it's
hip
like,
hop, man. Is I love stuff from all the different lanes. Like there really is,
yeah,
you know, different styles that I like that are all under the umbrella of hip hop, and yeah,
for sure, for
try not to
sure.
discriminate. But
Um, but as far as opening for big names, um, I feel like you can it like it's a good way to get yourself out there.
yeah,
I just opened for Snack the Ripper last month.
right.
That was a hell of a show. I had a lot of fun, but that's because me and like I feel like my style. I don't want to say it's compatible with his style,
It's a
but
pretty good fit. It's
if you go to a Snack the Ripper show and you hear my music, you're not going to complain.
yeah,
It's I put on a pretty good show. He's a fairly lyrical. He's does his fucking thing, right? Shouts to Snack the Ripper.
yeah. You
Um,
guys are in a fairly similar lane. I mean, he may
yeah,
be a little bit more aggressive than you tend to be. Your stuff is very casual. You have one of the most nonchalant flows I think I can, you know, call to memory or
thank you,
whatever. Like,
thank you. I appreciate that.
yeah, sounds very, very casual and laid back, which I dig. But how about this one, dude? I added this one specifically for you listening
Okay,
to the Today album. But how
all right.
important is writing music that women like? I feel like
Oh,
you were aimed at the ladies a little bit with that Today album.
yes. That's a very good question. Um, okay, so I'm gonna answer that question with another question for artists. Okay, do you want your music to be listened to? Women are half the population
In
on this
general, or
planet.
but okay, I thought you were gonna finish the sentence. Well,
Women are half the population on this planet.
okay, but there's definitely a lot of rappers who are putting out music that's not targeted at women. It's I don't know if you've heard the term, but scare the hose music is definitely
Yeah,
a lane of hip hop that some guys are very
it
firmly
is.
in, right?
It is. Yeah, I've heard it, and I feel like you're gonna have more commercial success if your music is more accessible
Yeah,
for everybody.
that makes a lot of sense. Yeah,
I feel like that's a bit of a no-brainer.
for
You
real.
don't have
Yeah,
to cater specifically just to women all the time, right? Same way you wouldn't cater specifically to men all the time, right?
right.
That the if your target audience is people, you got to talk to the people, men, women, children, everybody, man.
Oh yeah. Uh, this is interesting for Canadian artists because we're all isolated out in the boonies. But how important in 2024 is an artist's physical location?
Ooh,
Like, have you ever thought about like, oh shit, I got to move to Vancouver, or Toronto, or Montreal, or LA, or New York for that matter? Like,
I feel like it depends again on what you're trying to do. I'm not at all in any place to say that because I haven't experienced crazy commercial success yet,
sure.
right?
But do you think
Um,
that that's because you're in Edmonton? Like, would you have a
I
better shot at that success in a bigger market? I don't know. It's a tough
well,
question.
it's like okay, so if you were a country artist, you might have better success if you move to Nashville
Or Calgary. Yeah.
or right to get more to get recognized, right? To
Yeah.
because if you go to Nashville and you go fucking perform in a coffee shop or something like that, you got country record executives who
Might be
come
there.
through. Oh,
Yeah.
right? Um,
But then it's like I was saying at the start of the episode too, with the big fish, small pond thing, that down there you've in Nashville, I'm sure you can walk down the street and ask five different dudes and four of them can probably play you a country song, you know, like,
yes,
so
yes,
yeah, stuff.
for sure, for sure. So like I think it can be important. I'm I've thought about it. I think that maybe I don't know, maybe move to New York if
Yeah.
that was kind of I mean New York's pretty rough,
Well,
but
it's super expensive. You almost need to win the lottery to fucking move there or something. Like
fucking shit.
have
They're like
roommates. Uh,
I don't know. I realistically I can't afford to move to New York yet.
yeah.
I mean I could, but it's not like long term financially viable just yet.
I feel like
Someday.
just for myself watching the Edmonton scene for like the last 20 years, it feels like maybe the days of artists moving to Toronto and Vancouver to try to find more success in the music industry are behind us, because now the internet has leveled that playing field to the point where, you know,
Yeah.
you can put the music online and still access a wider market regardless of
Yeah.
where you're at, right?
Well, a little bit, but I will say one other thing about, say, moving to a different location to pursue music.
Yeah.
Say you move to like LA or you move to New York to pursue music, right? Now, between Edmonton, Calgary, and then like a couple small towns, there's your stretch, there's your strip of where you can travel to. And
Right.
Calgary is fucking 3, 4 hours away, right? You move to New York, sure, the traffic's bad, but you got Buffalo, you got Boston, you got all these places that are pretty close. You have a 3 place tour, and it's still only maybe a couple hours away, just like to travel it. We have a lot more ground to cover in Alberta or in Canada in general, except for maybe Toronto
Right.
and BC, right?
Yeah.
Because they're like closer
Vancouver
to the
area,
strip.
Toronto area. There are a lot of
Yeah,
places you could play in a
closer to
smaller
the
area.
strip, right?
Yeah,
We're kind of out in the middle of nowhere out here comparatively to them.
for real. Yeah. How important is an MC's fashion? I'm always torn
Um,
on this one, man, because personally I'm like,
ooh,
fuck fashion. What are we supporting these billionaires with their goddamn clothing brands and designer shit? But then the other half of me is like, but I don't know. KRS-One says it's an element of hip hop too, so maybe I'm just fucking being ignorant, being like, that doesn't matter.
I
You
feel
know?
like you don't have to be entirely materialist to be conscious of your fashion,
Yeah.
right? I got some outfits that it cost me only maybe $100 to put together.
Yeah.
Still looks fly,
Yeah.
right? Um, I feel like if you look fly as fuck on stage, it adds to your aura and what you're doing, right?
100%.
If you
Yeah.
go if you go up there looking like you just woke up in the gutter and you're wearing the same shit from yesterday,
Yeah.
you're gonna get the scaring the hose look, right?
Yeah.
You know what I
Definitely.
mean? It's
People in
that,
hoodie and boots might be there for it, but yeah,
yeah.
most average people out at the club are going to be like, what the fuck is up here? Yeah.
Well, that and like I feel like your fashion also goes with like the confidence that you carry yourself with,
Yeah.
right? If you're going up there, look dressed fly as fuck, best believe you're gonna feel a little more confident rapping your lyrics than if
For
you're
real.
going up there. Oh shit, I had a wardrobe malfunction. Oh, I'm still up. Oh, I didn't forgot to put on deodorant. Oh, all right.
And fashion
That's
in
gonna
general, whether you're on stage or not, can be a hell of a confidence boost, right? Just day to day
exactly
life, looking good, you typically are going to feel good too. So,
precisely.
yeah, man. Uh, this one's an interesting one. How important is having or finding the right romantic partner for an artist?
Ooh, that is a very good question. I think that I feel like, especially when you're first starting out, you got like as an artist, it's best to explore the full range of emotion with your craft, right? That said, breakup songs, songs about loss are a part of that,
Yeah.
right? As an artist, the sad stuff can help you hone your craft, right? I
Well,
wouldn't be who I am today without writing at least a few songs about past relationships,
yeah.
stuff like that,
Well,
right?
love songs are super relatable too. That's the other
Yeah,
one is, yeah, you want to
for
put them
sure,
out there
right?
because everybody on earth can relate to them at some point.
Exactly, exactly.
Yeah.
So, as far as pursuing the um the best romantic partner, I feel like the pursuit of it should not necessarily be entirely reflective of your art. I
Yeah.
think that you should be willing to be open and discuss, different parts of your relationship, good or bad, in your art, right? I feel like having the right one isn't necessary for your music to be what it needs to be. Because if you're meant to be with the right one right now, you'll find them, right? I feel like the creator has a plan for all of us, and we'll, if that's what we're meant to find, that's what we're meant to find. If
Yeah.
if there comes a time when, say, oh, I have to break up with my partner or whatever, and I end up having to write a song about it, or that comes out in something that I write, it was meant to be there in my art, right? I feel like the life that you live and what you go through should be more reflective of in your music than just the partner.
Yeah.
But what I can say is that a like having the right person by your side to accomplish some of these goals can be really, really awesome. I got to shout out my girlfriend. She's been quite supportive. She's one of those people who is willing to tell me when something that I do just ain't it, right? And I need that sounding board. If I suck, I'd rather hear it, right?
Yeah.
Because I can't improve otherwise.
Hell yeah, man.
Right? She's helped me run merch booth at my shows. She's holds it down for me. So
sounds pretty important. Yeah, sounds like she's doing some pretty important stuff. Yeah.
On one hand, it is for some people it's really important, but I don't want to say that should always be your end goal. I feel like instead it's more important to work on yourself for your art.
For real. I think kind of to loop back to what you were talking about with fashion and what I said with fashion, just like that when you look good, you're going to feel good. I think when you're in a good relationship, you're going to feel good. And that helps make good art too a lot of the time. It helps just, be less stressed out and more able to focus on music or whatever, right?
For sure.
Couple more of these how important questions for you, bro.
Okay.
How important is pressing vinyl in 2024 for hip hop artists?
Ooh, for hip hop artists, that is a good question. I feel like I myself, I don't know too many hi-fi specialists who love listening to vinyl.
Right.
I know my little sister has she has a record player, likes to listen to music on that. I have a record player myself. I don't have any hip hop records on it because I'm a busy guy. I'm on the go usually, right? So, and most people are
and
nowadays.
Also albums cost like $50 or $60 a lot of the time if you're buying them from indie
on
artists,
vinyl,
right?
if you get the man, fucking I can't remember how much it was, but like I think Frank Ocean was gonna put out his Blonde on vinyl or something like that, and it was a ridiculous price.
Yeah.
Well, it was like the extended whatever edition, something crazy.
It's almost like the Nipsey Hussle strategy where you sell, each album for $1,000 or whatever. But you only sell 100 of them, and it's a real collector item shit, right?
Yes, and I think if you have the pull that you can get into having limited edition and collector type stuff, like if you already have an audience base, I feel like pressing vinyl can be a really cool thing that you can do for your fans and super fans, right? But you need to have fans and super fans first to make that a viable commercial move.
Yeah, definitely. All right, man. I always ask artists for tips for other artists because like a lot of this show, you said earlier, here's a gem for anybody who wants to know about like how to market themselves as an artist.
Yeah.
My mix show After the Smoke is Clear is by artists for artists. Like, it's aimed very much at hip hop heads, right? And so are these talks. So it's good to get a tip about something from each artist. So I wanted to ask you about like, you got any tips for dealing with internet haters? Because I feel like you have been an internet hater yourself. Now that I know that you're also known
and I've been your past life.
Yeah.
To deal with internet haters, just turn off your fucking phone, man.
Yeah.
No, like the thing is that I'll tell you honestly, out of all of that, all that internet hate I got as Hades, there is like, I've seen these people in person since. They haven't done shit.
Right.
And I'm cool with a lot of them now, right? Because like if it's internet hate, man, like nobody gives a fuck.
It's not that
People are
serious.
people are gonna be so bold behind a keyboard, right? Because and okay, actually, best advice. Sorry, I'm gonna get sidetracked here
Not
instead of
do it,
get
man. Spell it out.
crazy and about that. Um, internet hate, especially, is people projecting their own insecurities, right? If you're putting yourself out there and it's your honest effort, your honest music, you're not fucking around with people, you're not going and trying to mess with people. I've gone and done that. I've been the internet hater to that, right? If you're being a decent human being, you're doing your fucking thing, you're working hard at it. If somebody's gonna come and hate on you about that, they are going through worse shit than you are, right? These people are coming at you from a place of looking at it and like, oh, this guy's going and actually making music, and I'm not. Oh, I'm gonna, man, your music sucks, bro.
Yeah.
Right? Because somebody who is actually working hard on their shit is not gonna have the time to sit there and tell you your shit blows on the
Totally.
internet,
Totally.
right? These
Well,
guys
people with fulfilling lives, even beyond being like too busy or working on their own shit, people who are living happy lives don't just go fucking randomly hate on people online. I
yeah,
don't think.
yeah. Like the fact is that if you here's the thing, you also have to be able to distinguish between what is hate and what is genuine criticism,
Yeah.
right? You have to still be able to take that criticism as an artist, right? Some people get big in their egos and they can't take criticism, and then their music continues to suck because they didn't listen to something that could have helped them improve,
Right.
right? But at the same time, you shouldn't, you any internet hate that you get, take it with a grain of salt, listen to it, look at it as, oh, is this guy just talking on his fucking ass? Or is he on the low trying to help me improve?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think if they're trying to help you improve, we're not going to look at it as hate, right? As much. But yeah, the random trolls, you got to just turn away from. Let them yell into the void.
These guys are, 30, 40 years old, still living in their mom's basement, dick in hand, drinking a fucking Diet Coke and a white monster with no sugar in it, thinking that it's gonna make them smart, but it doesn't, because aspartame's bad for you, right? 100%. And they're sitting on their computer, wiping the fucking Cheeto dust off their belly, talking about, oh man, this guy's record is shit. You're really gonna listen to somebody who has nothing better to do than talk shit about other people on the internet?
Yeah, I don't know who I'm quoting with this one, but like, you should only take advice from people who you look up to, like, if you only take advice from people who have opinions that fucking matter, because yeah, you can't just be taking any random person's advice and thinking, you need to do as every person online is going to tell you, because there's some idiots out there just saying dumb shit. Yeah, man. Okay, so before you go, I always ask everybody a couple of questions. Can you describe the Edmonton hip hop scene?
The Edmonton hip hop scene it's interesting because I feel like it's separated, but there's like a place for anybody trying to get in, right?
Yeah.
I feel like there's like a lot of parts that are clicky, which are harder to break into, and some people definitely fucking gatekeeping.
Yeah.
Right. But I would say with a lot of different things, like I've seen, what is it? I think it's River City Radio puts on these shows. I can't remember exactly when. Shouts to River City Radio, but they have these things where artists can come in, try out their shit in like a setting, you know what I mean, like for a 10-15 minute set, whatever, nothing crazy.
Okay.
But like helps a bunch of people get started, do their thing. right? You got the
Is River City Radio like? Isn't it River City Revival or something? The name of the club where Thug Shells does those freestyle nights? Is it the same?
That is another
deal?
one. That is another one. Different one though.
Okay, interesting.
That would be the River City Revival House. Yes.
Yes, right.
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah. Separate things.
Okay.
Shouts to Thug Shells and her ciphers though.
That's another place where anybody can walk up and be welcomed for sure.
Yes.
Yeah.
That is a great, like, I have nothing but love for those guys because they put on a fucking show and they're so for the culture and accepting anybody who wants to come up and fucking spit some shit.
100%.
So shout out to the Thug Shells, Cyphers, the John Kings, all those guys, man. Yeah. That is an example of a really accepting part of the culture, right? I think they're even the Cyphers of Black Dog on Saturday nights. That goes pretty hard too. Shouts to them.
Yeah, that's the Jung Kings run that, right? Are we supposed to say Jung, or I thought it was Young Kings? I don't know. I'm not the guy in Edmonton.
I don't know. I can't pronounce it. We'll ask Deeswax. Deeswax, if you're in the chat.
Shouts to Deeswax and some.
Yeah, for sure.
Speaking of all these other artists, though, dude. Did you want to keep explaining more about the Edmonton scene?
Yeah. I would say Dis or Daps is really awesome for getting people in on that.
Yeah.
I had the fortune to be able to get in. I don't want to say on the ground floor, but to be partnered up with Dis or Daps. Of course, I'm going to have to shout them out because of that.
Shouts to J-Reds and Poltergeist.
Shouts to J-Reds, Poltergeist, Paradox, and the Colby, emcee Ironfoot. They really do their motherfucking thing, man.
Yeah.
The Dis or Daps vision is really like that is what, like, I'm proof of concept of that, man. I went to a Dis or Daps. Now I'm partnered with them, and I had my own headlining show last month.
He's in chat. He says it's the Young Kings.
Kings.
Just to
shout out to the Young Kings.
Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about.
Spelled with a J.
Yes. But for real, Dis or Daps is another great, like, stomping grounds to get, if you're just starting out as an artist, that's another place to get your feet wet and, try your hand in front of some people, right?
Yeah.
But that, like, I don't know too many other spots that are super, super, like, accepting and inclusive other than those. I feel like the rest are a little bit gate kept. I've heard of some other circuits in the city. I still have yet to go and branch out just yet. But,
I feel like beyond like open mic nights, whatever city you're in, it's going to come down to just kind of booking venues yourself, isn't it? Like,
yeah.
Right. So like if you've got a couple of homies who also have small followings, book a venue and put on a little show or whatever is kind of the way in. But then it still is clicky on who you can actually get to come out to the show and who.
Well, exactly. But I can honestly say that with the few that I mentioned there, like if for anybody in the Edmonton scene or hoping to get into the Edmonton scene, those are the places to get your feet wet. You 100%. can come say what's up to them, and they're lovely people. It's super accepting, and I mean that's like, I don't want to say a stepping stone, but it's a good cornerstone to get your house built in the house of hip hop if you're going to start building your career and all that, right?
And send me your music. I know a guy who can put it on a mix show that gets listened to across the entire country. So, yeah. How about, let's just, I always ask people for shout outs. And I noticed when I was listening to your album on Raw Rap, you do a bunch of shout outs at the end.
Yeah.
And, like, dude, I knew one of those crews you named or something. I was like, who the fuck are all these people he was shouting out? Like,
yeah.
I pay pretty close attention. You got to tell these guys to fucking, I don't know, knock on my door or whatever, fucking hit the inbox and send some music over or something. But yeah, give some shout outs, bro.
Okay. All right. I'm going to shout out as many people as I can here then.
Yeah.
I'm going to shout out the Whole Heart Collective first because shout out Whole Heart Collective, shout out Glitch, shout out Twig, shout out LB Nomad, shout out Mickey Dubs, shout out Damaged Goods in the chat. Shout out Cash Cartsy, shout out Young Bane, shout out Young Chap, shout out yeah, fuck, who else can I shout out? I don't know, shout out my mom, shout out my dad for putting me on here.
I'd like to thank God. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd like to
Yeah.
I'd like to thank my legs for keeping me on my feet, and I'd like to thank the sidewalks for keeping me off the streets.
Beautiful, man. No, that's a pretty good list. I always ask artists for that just because it's about, sharing the love, sharing the spotlight. And like I said,
Shout
it's
out
a
my
show
girlfriend for
by
ordering
hip hop
pizza.
heads for hip hop heads. So people should, know who else to look for in town or whatever.
For sure.
Yeah, man.
Shout out BC Twitch. Shout out the infamous Ing, who is another guy from Edmonton who is on the come up. He's fucking sick.
Yeah.
Definitely have
Used
a
to
look
be known
out
as
for
Ingy
Infamous
Ings, that dude. He hit me recently.
Oh yeah,
I'm
yeah.
familiar with his music. Yeah.
Shout out BC Twitch. Shout out to was it RIP Lifeless? He came over yesterday and we put a record together. So that's an interesting combo that's going to come out. He's more of like a necro trap kind of sound. Very interesting. You have to look into it.
Nice.
Who else can I shout out? Yeah, shout out my girlfriend for ordering pizza and being very patient in the other room while you do this interview.
Fair enough, man. I got like 2 real quick questions. Just any tours coming up, any shows coming up we can plug for people?
Coming up.
Or,
Okay,
what
so
should people, where can they find you?
I'm doing a show with Ajax and a couple of his boys out in Drayton Valley on October 4th.
Yep.
My first time in Drayton Valley, so that'll be fun.
Cool.
Shout out Ajax, shout out Jeremy Winter, and shout out Polly Free. I've got hold up. Okay, sorry about that.
No worries.
I've got the Evil Ebenezer show I'm opening on October 10th in Edmonton. So that one will be good. Shout out Distinct, shout out Little Man, shout out BC Twitch, he's gonna be on that one. Who else? I've got the October 25th. I'm doing this show. I'm opening for Roni, who's a Toronto artist.
Okay.
I opened for him last time he came through, and that was pretty cool. Yeah, shout out Roni. I guess he's yeah.
That's a name I don't know. I'll have to check into his music. Yeah.
His music's interesting. It's more of the melodic trap kind of sound, but yeah, it was the most packed show I've ever performed for the last time that he came through. So that'll be fun.
Beautiful.
And then the day after, I'm doing the Hinton Halloween party hosted by Little Man YEG and on October 26th. And that one is going to be crazy. I'm fucking psyched for that.
Hinton comes out, man. I played a show in Hinton once, and I was surprised. It was a good time out in Hinton. Yeah. What's the best way for people to support you or other artists who they like?
Buy my merch.
There you go.
Easy. It makes me more money than my music right now.
Especially streams. But buy digital music too. I always, like to add that one to people's what's the best way to support? Spend 99 cents. If you got $1, fucking give it to your favorite artist. Where can people find you on social media, man?
You can find me on Instagram at I.L.Liam I.L.Liam on Instagram. You can find me on Facebook at ILLiam.ca. You can find me on Twitter. I think it's ILLiam_CA. And no, it's X now, not Twitter.
I think you can find me on, people know what you're talking about.
Yeah. You can find me on Snapchat at ILLiam Smokes. I don't actually smoke anymore, which is crazy.
Used to, yeah. There you go.
Used to, yeah. Let's see.
Actually, that reminds me. You had a bar about how every track you drop is smoke. It's a Canadian classic or something along those lines. I don't know. I really like that one, man. That one made me chuckle when I heard it earlier today.
Man, that was a favorite bar of mine, man. I love that one.
Yeah, that's a good one. And Deeswax was asking, are we still doing that collabo? we gonna get on a track? I don't know, man. We were talking about it a couple weeks ago when we were talking with Dees, but
me, you, and Deeswax?
Yeah, man. Let's make it happen.
Yeah, I'm down. When are you trying to come up to Edmonton to do
I
it?
mean, that's the real question. I got my own little studio set up here too, so I could probably
Ooh,
send some files
ooh,
up and shit. We'll see, but yeah,
that's
you know,
true.
the people should keep their eyes open. That could happen. That might be a
Yes,
thing down the
yes.
line. Anyways, though,
Well,
man, it was nice to meet you. Good talking with you. I
it
appreciate
was a
you
pleasure,
staying
my
into
friend.
overtime. It's been fun. People should
Of
definitely
course.
check out your music. So yeah,
Thank
catch
you.
you
Thanks
next
for
time,
having
man.
me on the show, dude. This is sick.
Hell yeah. Peace.
Peace.
All right, everybody. So that was Fly in Formation with I.L.Liam. Keep coming back on Tuesdays. Do me a favor, hit follow. Follow me on the various different social media, but also here on Twitch. And come through Tuesdays. Most of the time, it's 7 o'clock Mountain Time when these things happen. I'm talking to different artists from across the country every week. Normally, these go pretty much like it just did with I.L.Liam. We just kind of chop it up about various different indie hip-hop shit, talk about people's new projects, all that. If you're looking for my mix show after the smoke is clear at Sick Radio, mixcloud.com/Doobyis is the place to find it. If all you can remember is my name, Doobyis.com, that's the hub for everything that I do. Tap in there. And yeah, keep on coming back. I appreciate y'all jumping through in chat. It was a good one. It was active today, so yeah, it was nice having people to talk to in chat as this thing went on. And always a pleasure, guys. I'll catch you on the next one.